Welcome back to Newsmax Now. I'm Miranda Kahn, and here are some of your headlines. Lawmakers in Oregon pass a bill requiring background checks on private gun sales. The state's proposal now heads to the governor's desk for approval. According to the Oregonian, supporters have waited years for tougher gun laws, but Republicans continue to vote them down. Now we move to Nebraska, where lawmakers are considering whether to abolish the death penalty. Officials say carrying out executions are difficult and costly. Now Nebraska might become the first conservative state in 40 years to end capital punishment. Former Arkansas Governor Mike Huckabee joins the 2016 presidential race. The former pastor ran for president back in 2008, but this time he faces competition from other social conservatives like Ted Cruz. Our current president made his 8th appearance on The Late Show with David Letterman. The commander-in-chief joked with the retiring late-night comedian, but also addressed serious issues like the Baltimore riots.
This is not just a policing problem. What you have are pockets of poverty, lack of opportunity, lack of education, all across this country.
President Obama says a handful of cops doing the wrong thing makes it harder for other officers.
There might be sniper fire.
She didn't say it once, she said it 3 times.
We just ran with our heads down to get into the vehicles.
There's some differing accounts of your trip to Bosnia.
Does not seem to be under fire. 4 of a possible 4 Pinocchios.
It was a total crock.
Now she's trying to navigate between a president she served and the unions and Democratic base voters she needs in 2016.
You know, all my grandparents, came over here.
That's not true at all.
Only one grandparent was an immigrant.
Clinton's grandmother was in fact born in Pennsylvania.
And there you go, a new web ad from the Republican National Committee hitting Hillary for her history of flip-flops and half-truths. Welcome back into Newsmax Now.
And welcome back. This ad details a long history for Mrs. Clinton. Are voters going to remember, or are they going to even care? That's really the real question there.
Well, she's doing very well in the polls, but also a new Wall Street Journal NBC News poll says just 25% of all voters give Hillary high marks for being honest and straightforward. Well, today Hillary Clinton is planning to call for a path to citizenship for illegal immigrants. So how's that going to play for independent voters? She's pulling basically a Jeb Bush here. What do you think?
Pulling a Jeb Bush? I think that's pretty tough comparison.
Yeah, well, look forward to hearing more of what Mrs. Clinton has to say, but, I keep coming back to the fact, President Obama, who we just heard from, after the nomination of the new chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, he's hosting an event later this evening for Cinco de Mayo at the White House to celebrate that holiday. But Hillary Clinton choosing Cinco de Mayo to make her pitch to a lot of the dreamers here in this country, taking much the same path that President Obama has laid out here, and essentially what Jeb Bush has called for.
But I don't think she checked Hispanic when she was voting.
I don't think she
sure
did.
About that. Sorry, I couldn't resist that. Okay. What's going to be coming up, though, Clinton will be testifying on Benghazi this month. A lot of people anxious to hear her speak about this. Her lawyer says she's prepared for just one hearing, not the 2 requested by Benghazi Committee Chairman Trey Gowdy. Of course, we all remember this, John.
Right.
Supposedly protests, and then something sprang out of that, an assault sprang out of that. And that was easily ascertained that was not the fact. And the American people could have known that within days, and they didn't know that.
With all due respect, the fact is we had 4 dead Americans. Was it because of a protest, or was it because of guys out for a walk one night who decided they'd go kill some Americans? What difference at this point does it make?
I think that's going to be a bigger issue than the immigration issue. Yeah, I do, because you're entrusting this person to protect all of Americans, and with the rise, or at least what appears to be a rise in terrorism, I think
I will say this for that clip there from Hillary Clinton. There has been so much of her campaign that has been so tightly scripted. I mean, even today, when you look at the announcement about immigration coming on Cinco de Mayo, obviously they're trying to consider all possible aspects of the optics of this. But in that moment, we saw Hillary Clinton unguarded, and I think that might benefit her because of that trustworthiness issue. She
You
seems
think
so
that,
guarded.
You think that testimony was going to benefit her?
I think she's just by being straightforward. There is such a thirst for Hillary Clinton to come out and say something, whether it's controversial or not. The lack of transparency and what we just pointed to with that NBC News Wall Street Journal poll, only 25% of voters, even though she has favorability ratings in the 42% range, 25% think she's trustworthy. She's going to have to answer to that. So.
Well, I think a lot of times you got to bear in mind, though, people vote to vote against somebody. So it's really what matters now are the independent voters, I think. Later in the show, Newsmax Prime host J.D. Hayworth will join us to talk about his exclusive interview with Dr. Ben Carson, another presidential hopeful.
I will tell you that there are a lot of things in our government that need an overhaul. It's run in an extremely inefficient way.